Welcome back to the Burning the Red Shirt podcast for episode 13. I'm your host, Zach Tao. I have with me Andrew Katz and Chris K. As always, how are you guys doing?
Good. This is episode 013. Thank you
Right.
very much.
Right.
The obvious conclusion being that we're making it somewhere above 100, but below 1,000.
My contract ends at 99. Thank you very much. And then we have to re-up it. So it's not a guarantee.
Okay, well, we've got plenty of episodes to do until we have to discuss contracts. So, all right, let's lead off with Jordan Addison. Yeah, the whole transfer saga is still up in the air. He's teasing everybody until he eventually picks Alabama. But what do you guys think about his recent visit to Texas?
Did I make a joke last time about this being the episode that we talk about Roe or
I don't know if we want to get into that.
Oh, no.
I'm not smart enough for that one, man. I'm obvious
I think that's
enough,
what
but I'm not
the
smart
people
enough.
want, though.
Is it?
I think this one's funny because, like, to me, Addison is changing rules in college football.
Yeah.
Right? Like the NLI stuff. Now, all of a sudden, NCAA is like, wait a second. Like, we're going to start doing this and that. You know who it reminds me of? Kenny Pickett. Game-changing, rule-changing with his sliding thing that he did last year. What's up with Pitt, guys? Just changing the rules of college football. They're just trendsetters.
There's a special place in my heart for players who do something and the league feels the need to change the rules because of them. Like when the NFL changed the rule about Trent Richardson, how he used to lower his head into players all the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. And then his career went downhill.
The best part about it is like other guys have transferred. Other guys have like made moves. Then Jordan Addison, like the noise happens and NCAA is like, wait a second. Like that's like game changing. That's pretty awesome. Like you're that good that the NCAA is like, wait a second. Like we got to stop this.
Well, is it that, or was it the fact that the rumor was that he was offered $3 million in a house at USC that kind of said, whoa, wait
Legendary. What's funny is like Lincoln Riley is getting what, like 12 or 15 million in a house? Like, and he's getting 3 million in a house? That's not bad.
Yeah, and then you're going to get even more next year when you go pro.
You think he's going to USC then?
No.
Where do you think Texas?
I think everybody's pointing Texas.
Yeah.
Everybody else is smarter than me. I'm going to say Texas.
Screen. It's a smoke screen, guys.
Texas, yeah. Everybody wants to drive down the value of Gary Bryant and Taj Washington, and that's what's happening right now.
But from a fantasy perspective, if he goes to Texas, how do you think it plays out?
Pretty bad.
Yeah, you don't, because that's one possibility, right? Another is that it's Ohio State 2.0 where everybody eats.
Yeah, I mean, like, is it possible? Very yes, that it could be Ohio State 2.0, right? But like, I mean, Worthy is amazing, right? The thing is, if I have Worthy on my team, why would I want Addison to join Texas? Like, there's no benefit. Like, there's no best case to that. Like, it doesn't improve.
Best case is what Andrew just said. Is that,
but like Worthy's going to do that regardless
anyway, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So. And I think if I have Addison in my teams, I don't want that either because I can go to USC, clear one. I go to Bama, in my opinion, clear one. So it's not great. And I think, you talked to like Josh and like Mike Bainbridge and all those guys, like the second receiver for, those that Texas offense, based on the offensive coordinator and all that stuff, like is not a great spot. And those guys are smart enough where, like, I don't think it's great. I would have rather avoid it if I'm either of those guys.
Yeah, I think I would agree that Worthy's like the clear candidate for if Addison goes there. Him and Nair are like the two most negatively affected, right? But I mean, Bijan's probably not. It doesn't really negatively impact him, and Quinn's just going to go nuclear, obviously. I was so ready. I was totally out on Addison this year at the price when he was at Pitt. And now it's no matter where he goes of all the options that are kind of in play, he's vaulting easily into the first round at any of those three places.
Yeah, we saw him go first round in the best ball we just did, right? Like, and that was probably a little bit higher than I would have done. I would have probably put him at like the 11, 12, 13, 14th pick type spot, and like compared to where he was probably around 18 to 24 type. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to love Addison, skill wise.
Yeah,
I think he would have been fine at Pitt.
No, he was gonna bust. I think. I convinced myself that he was gonna bust relative to second round pick status if he stayed at Pitt this year.
See, he's doing us all a favor.
I mean, he's bailing out his owners who drafted him in the second round in previous drafts is what he's doing. So good for him and good for them.
Yeah. So the final verdict is you think Texas, right, Chris?
Yeah, I'll go Texas. I would like it to be something else because it's more fun that way.
I'll stick to USC.
But
you know what? I'll stick to Bama.
Okay.
I'm in.
Yeah, stick to what? Yeah, stick to Bama.
Hey, how are you going to go to USC?
You're right.
I'll take USC then. How's that?
Okay.
All right. Chris, did you have something to say about Brew McCoy today?
I mean, nothing I've already not said.
No, we'll do the full. We'll do the full Brew episode in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't think we need to spend too much time on Brew. I think the funny thing for me, and I've said this to you guys in chat, is that I get the fact that he has not played in a year. But my dog is going insane out there. But he hasn't played a year. He's like literally 20 or 21, right? Like he will be okay. We're not talking about like Tim Tebow going to play back to play baseball or something. You know, like he'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Like he's an extreme athlete, 4 or 5 star. Like what are we that all concerned about, right? Like until you can tell me a player that's going to overtake him at Tennessee. Give me Jalen Robinson per Andrew's sources, right? Then I'm not concerned about it. Like, I don't know why people are hating on Brew. I got him in the 20th round of a best ball. That feels like an amazing spot for him. I overdrafted him the first time. I was also very excited the first time. Okay. So I just don't understand why people are that upset about it. I mean, or that like thinking it's that crazy. I mean, Andrew, am I out of my mind here? Like, what's the negative to Brew right now besides he didn't play last year, which is like something every redshirt player ever has done?
That he might not play this yeyear.
It's fine. It's 20th round. I mean, we're all gonna lose. We're all gonna lose guys for various reasons in the 20 some odd round, right? They're gonna lose their starting jobs. We're gonna lose them to injury, weird stuff, transfers out. I'm sure there's more of that coming. So, I mean, if at that point in the draft, especially weighing something that you feel confident in more than just gravitating toward any other forces that are pulling you to a player, I'm all for it.
I mean, people were picking Tanner Mordecai and Preston Stone in like literally back-to-back rounds, like 11, 12, 9, 10, 10, 11. Like, what's the difference? You know, like that's not that big of a difference. So
no, it's not. All right. We'll end that with the Brew talk there.
For now.
Right, for now. One of the bigger transfers, potential transfers, Quincy Patterson, quarterback from North Dakota State. Where do we think he goes?
Is that his first school? Is that his original school?
Oh, no. Quincy Patterson, Virginia Tech, man.
Yeah.
You're just playing with me, man. You're just playing with me.
Yeah.
That was a test.
Quincy has a big place in my heart because he, which is a great, by the way, great transition, Zach. You're just amazing. Changed NCAA rules. We no longer have unlimited overtimes because of Quincy Patterson. Because Quincy Patterson was the quarterback against the UNC that Virginia Tech went like 8 overtimes. I'm pretty positive, if I remember correctly. And nowadays, we just play 2-point conversions.
Right.
Changing rules because of Quincy Patterson.
You think that Quincy has a bigger part in that story than the Burrow throwing up on the sidelines against A&M?
I do. Yeah. I mean, talk about a bigger player in college football. Yes. Quincy
I don't
Patterson.
remember that game. I'll believe you though.
I remember it because I had Hendon Hooker in a ton of lineups, and he got hurt really early, and then Quincy Patterson comes in and runs for like 3 touchdowns.
That's wild.
Even like it was like 2 touchdowns rushing and 100+ yards before overtime, and then they won like 7 overtimes.
Did you guys win?
Like, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. It was against UNC. I know it went like 7-8 overtimes, and it was insane game. But then that's what kind of prompted the rule change of,
just another disgusting higher up decision by the NCAA compromising the gameplay.
By the way, I don't think Quincy Patterson, like who knows where he goes. He went Virginia Tech to North Dakota State. He really was a pretty below average to average passer. I think he was like 58% passing, like 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But
54, 6 TDs, 4 interceptions. Pretty good, Chris.
Well,
pretty darn good. Go ahead.
No, he was like literally a runner, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I said something to Nate today. I was like, and part of it was joking because like I'm 10 of 10 intrigued just because it's Quincy Patterson, but I'm not like, I don't like he could very easily transfer to some crazy FCS school. But like, why can't he just go to like Kansas State? Like Skylar Thompson, like throws the football like a shot put, right? Like just like Quincy Patterson. Like, why can't Quincy Patterson go there? Right? Like Adrian Martinez was an actual thing at Nebraska. Like, why is Quincy Patterson different? And that was my point. So I think if he goes to the right spot, right, like he could be a very relevant fantasy player, not a good quarterback. It's like kind of the opposite, right? Like
a Georgia Southern.
Give me a good spot to be a good college fantasy quarterback. I'm in. Let's do it.
Nice.
All right. Let me see. I want to talk about this one because Andrew's big on Cameron Ward, quarterback from Incarnate Word.
What makes you think that?
Because we've talked about it on the pod before.
Okay.
No, but anyway, one of his top receivers transfers with him to Washington State, Robert Farrell. How do we rate him? Does he move up to the top of their receiving room, or is he just kind of just another guy?
My research is about 5 minutes on his ESPN page, but I mean, the dude's 5'9", 170, and he had three games with 100 yards, I think, in that system. I mean, it all aggregated to him being the number 2 receiver, but I mean, I don't think it's fair to try and hypothesize that he's about to be the Jarrett Stearns, right, of this offense.
Right.
Maybe take a late round flyer. Wazoo definitely could use at minimum wide receiver depth, and there's not really that much in the way of stopping him from ascending to a starting spot. I thought it was weird. I read an article on their receiver room recently, and I thought it was weird that the coaches are still using the term slot backs when speaking about the inside receivers. Like slot backs to me is a term that applies specifically when talking about the run and shoot, and that like Rolo and friends are they're like Rolo's gone. Not all the coaches are gone, but like the idea was you brought in this air raid offense and just kind of put it down and it's supposed to be plug and play, but we're still using run and shoot terminology to describe facets of this offense, which is interesting, I think. I mean, if we are supposed to think of inside receivers being slot backs and separating them from outside receivers, like Lincoln Victor, I think is going to definitely be one of the inside receivers, and maybe Farrell is the other one, right? And then Stribling's on the outside, and Ollie is probably the other outside receiver. So you can make an argument easily enough. Those are 4 starting receivers. They're going to probably throw the ball around a ton this season. I don't think that necessarily you can conclude too definitively though that Farrell's going to be anything higher than like 2 or 3 on that depth chart, that pecking order. But hey, maybe Ward just wants to hit him all day because he's got that rapport with him.
It'll be interesting. I'm sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
I would say I don't think it can hurt that you have a guy coming in that you've got chemistry with, like immediately. Yeah. And I told you don't say it, but like, is he? I haven't watched any videos or anything. Like you said, he's 5'9", 170. Like, I just immediately think he's just like the slot receiver that we all know in the NFL.
Don't say it.
The Patriots usually have him. And
Wes Welker,
Edelman's, yeah. You know what I'm talking. Like that's where my mind goes, and maybe that's just stereotyping, and it's not fair. But
dude, we have Jarrett Stearns to gravitate toward now. We don't need to do that easy cop out like the stuff that all those nerds on the NFL side do.
But when you look at his numbers, he had 74 receptions for 815 yards.
Right.
He's not really stretching the field in any kind of way.
Yeah.
So
really
yeah.
And again,
for targets probably real low too.
And I haven't watched any film or anything, so my mind immediately goes to those quick 6 to 8 yard, quick hitches, outs, whatever, and moving the chains. Like that's what I'm looking at. But that's good in PPR if you've got a guy that's going to catch 8 to 10 balls every week.
I mean, if you throw it 50 times, right, and he's getting 20% of targets, you're looking at 10 targets. That stuff is like pretty simple.
And they're high percentage targets.
Yeah,
too.
right. So like 7 catches for 70 yards. And, usually, right, like that type of guy is going to be targeted around the end zone. Like, I mean, like usually that's not an end zone target in a real offense, but like in an offense like that throws it 50 times, you're probably going to get something around the end zone. I don't have anything groundbreaking to say about it, but I will say, if you are a fan of Cameron Ward, you 100% need to take a guy like him. Yeah. Like, he does not be successful without one of his receivers. Like, you have to take one of them. And, like, they're not expensive enough where you can say, well, like, I'm not going to like, no. Like, you're going to be able to take these guys fairly mid to late.
I was taking Ollie for a while, but I feel like I just can't find enough information and form enough of like an information-based opinion on why he's going to be a real asset in fantasy at this point.
If we had to guess, I need a response from everybody. Are we talking when it comes to Cameron Ward, let's say, because I think that like that's where it all stems, right? Like this guy right here, Robert Farrell's nothing if Ward stinks. So are we thinking, everybody give it right here, Ward, is he good or is he bad this year?
I think he'll be good.
Lean toward good.
I think he'll be bad. If I had to guess, bad.
You don't think this guy right here that we're watching these videos on helps him in any way?
No. I mean, we're talking.
He looks so much smaller than I even thought he would.
We're talking incarnate word. I'm sorry. Like, there's a big difference, right? Like, the thing is, right, like, Incarnate Word is a program that's like 10 years old, 15 years old. We're not talking about a program that's been here forever, like a Sam Houston State, something that's like big time, right? Like, Jacksonville State. This is like a program that's new, and like, props to them for having guys that are like wanted at the FBS level. But if I'm going to put money on one or the other, I'm going to pick dud, not stud.
That's fair. Oh, we said it at the same time. Nice. All right. I just wanted to kind of test out a video on the live thing here.
It looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's smooth.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Look, he has return ability. He's electric, guys. Look at that. All right. We'll cut that one out. So, was one more transfer. South Florida getting the Baylor transfer quarterback, Gerry Bohanon. I had him in our dynasty, the one that we're all three in, and I held him for like 2 years. He never did anything. And of course, as soon as I let him go, I just finally cut bait, and he now becomes something relevant. So do you think, I mean, I think it's a good move for him to go to South Florida, somewhere where he can thrive, I guess. But what do you guys think?
I thought last year that he surprised me with how composed he was as a passer and how controlled he was as a passer. Like, just based on what I feel like the limited exposure that we got to him in previous years. Maybe I'm misremembering this, but I just didn't get the sense that we were going to, like, I thought we were getting a player that was more high ceiling, high variance in Bohanon, but what ended up happening was it was very controlled, very structured, and I think the Baylor system was defined that way, and I mean, was executed amazingly, obviously, and they asked him to kind of manage games in a lot of ways, and it worked for them, right? They won a ton of games. They took down a conference championship. There's so many different ways it could play out at South Florida. Probably most of them probably aren't incredible. So I mean, South Florida still has a program under Jeff Scott. It seems like they're still building up a lot of their units. I haven't really seen anything when I've flipped on to them that, from a scheme perspective, amazes me. It seemed like last year it was like, all right, let Timmy do something cool, run around a little bit, get down inside the 5, and hand it off to Mangum and let him run in for a touchdown.
Okay, speaking of, like, do you think McLean transfers, or do you think he just waits it out?
How many? I want to ask how many years Bohanon has, but I just assume at this point everyone has infinite eligibility. I assume he has more than 1 year.
He's got, 2 years. He's probably got 2 years because
probably. I mean, we're past the deadline for entering the portal and getting eligibility. I
don't think McLean leaves. I don't think Bohanon's good enough to just auto leave. Like, if you can't beat out Gerry Bohanon, then like.
Why do you think Bohanon's, like, I've seen that sentiment on Twitter, but why do we think that
he'll have 2 years? I just pulled it up.
Why do we think that Bohanon is just this guy that?
I just don't think he's that good. I just don't think I've watched him play. Not impressed.
Yeah.
I mean, Baylor's a fairly good offense. I think Sharpen outproduced him and beat him out as, like, a redshirt freshman.
Shapen had one.
Shapen.
Am I wrong that he had that one transcendent half against Oklahoma State where he was basically just he completed 20 short passes in a row and then tried his best to give the game away, except Spencer tried even harder and couldn't win it. And they got stopped 4 times at the 1 yard line and missed out on the CFB playoff because of that.
I mean, that feels fairly accurate. But I mean, you look at Bohanon's best games; they were against Kansas and, like, Texas Southern. Like, really, like I know people talk about, like, the 5-game stretch, but 2 of those were against Kansas and Texas Southern, and one of them was against
West Virginia. He had a
West Virginia, where his fantasy points was still, like, only 23 or 24 points. Like, you look at his numbers and you're like, oh, that's a great game, and then you, like, count it up and you're like,
but is our opinion of him as a quarterback in real life relative to the competition in South Florida being informed by his fantasy production more than anything else?
I mean, Big 12's not that great, right? Like, I get that AAC has a ton of offense, but
I just think that
watching him play, I don't see a good quarterback, and I don't think. We're not going from I don't even know what conference would be considered, like, a great defensive conference at this point.
I love the Big 12.
I just don't think they're that great of a conference, right? So, like, if you're struggling to cut it and you get beat out, and I know you got hurt and that played a part of it, right? But, like, I don't know. Like, he had better offense at Baylor, right? Like Thornton, Abram Smith.
Yeah.
You know, you had those guys out there.
I guess. But you also look on the defensive side, too, like what you're going up against.
I think he wins the competition, no problem, if it is a competition this year. But I also think McLean sticks around.
I think he wins it, too. I think McLean 6 round 2.
Yeah.
I think
McLean can wait. He has time to wait it out.
Yeah,
young,
I mean,
so
was he a true freshman last year? It felt like Scott threw him into the fire, and we saw lots of fun and interesting things. But like, that dude probably wasn't ready to go out and and strategize and execute on a 70-80 play game plan.
Can I ask if we did not like how Blake Shapen played last year, if we thought he was average, why did Bohanon transfer?
I'm sure you read all this and all this stuff about all the nerds gushing over Aranda naming the starting quarterback right before the deadline so that Bohanon could transfer.
Yeah.
I'm not. So he did not beat out a sophomore. Is that what we're hearing? Is he did not beat out a sophomore quarterback that performed pretty average at best last year? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it, but if he can't beat out, it's one of those things, right? Like, it's the whole NIU running back situation with Radakovich, right? Like, if you're not beating out dudes like that, like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I get it, and it's a very fair point.
Yeah,
but
I don't think I haven't seen anything to have me believe that Shapen's transcendent, right? But I also don't think that we should just hate on Bohanon based on the fact that he lost the competition. I think it's more nuanced than that.
Yeah, I was going to say that kind of makes Chris's point though. If you don't think he's transcendent, you couldn't beat him out. So
yeah, I will say
both ways though.
What was really interesting was we did a best ball draft right after the news. Everybody knew the news. We did a 12-team draft where every single team picked 5 quarterbacks at least.
Yeah,
I picked 6, and I know a bunch of guys picked 6 quarterbacks.
I picked 6 as well.
Gerry Bohanon was not picked. Nate Marquise made a point. Hey, I have him in my top 60, which is fair, right? Like, technically, if he liked his 5 or 6 that he picked based on his strategy, it is conceivable that you could have him top 60 and still not take him. But the consensus is he is not a top 60 quarterback. It's also skewed too, right? Because like over time, people, if Texas Tech announces a quarterback, then all of a sudden you have 1, maybe 2 quarterbacks that won't be picked from that group.
There's also teams that have 2 quarterbacks picked because they don't know who it's going to be. So
that's what I'm saying. With Texas Tech is a great example.
Yeah.
But if you're not, I mean, right after the hot button news, right? Like if you're not being picked, like, come on.
Yeah, I get it. All right, I think we'll just close the transfer portal for now.
You want to do Gunnell next week?
Oh,
let's do Gunnell.
Yeah, I think Andrew's really excited about it. I completely forgot about him, but yes.
I was so on the fence. I felt like we had time, and I have strong feelings about Gunnell, but I thought we had time. I felt like we had time, and I'm on the fence because I feel like my opinion on it is probably a little different, and I would like to see people make mistakes in some of our upcoming drafts before I inform them how I think it's going to go. But what's your opinion?
I think I know what your opinion is, but I'll let Zach go first. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Honestly, I don't have much of an opinion because I had a lot going on. I haven't really even read up on it, but I did see it, and I knew Andrew was really excited about it. But I'm here in Memphis, so I think it kind of solves a lot of questions there in Memphis.
So, where do I want to start? I've been such a good Gunnell truther on our pod, like bringing up the I saw more of it today. People talking about his magical high school career in Texas and like how he like the dude gets mentioned in the same breath as like Kyler in Texas high school football, and then goes to Arizona, starts 8 games or whatever over the course of 2 years. I remember watching his last game at Arizona, and I was so excited to like jam him into a late slate. And second play of the game, he the line doesn't even block for him. He gets clobbered, gets knocked out, and then Will Plummer starts the last 5 games, and like that was the end of that slate or whatever. The end of his Arizona career as well, and then obviously went to Memphis last year. The rumor, right, I think, is that he tore his Achilles, right? Isn't that what it is? Or he did something terrible. and that's why he ended up not getting close to the field at all last year in any capacity. But transferring to North Texas now, I was reading about North Texas this past week, and old graybeard Aoun. I don't know if that's how you actually say it. Dude, Aoun, he's on my wall back here. In a Yankees jersey. I'll bring the card over next time. But autograph of Austin Aoun when he was in the Yankees farm system.
We need to see it now. Let's go and get it.
No, I can't. I'll bring it next time.
Okay.
But he has said that this is his last year playing college football as a 28-year-old dad. But he definitely has more years. Like he could definitely run it back if he wanted to. But close, strong down the stretch, right? They won like 5 games in a row, knocked off UTSA. Even though it was heavily dependent on them running the ball effectively. I don't think you just run the ball effectively without getting improved quarterback play and just in some capacity. Won their bowl game, and even after that they brought in that dude JB Head from Louisiana Tech. Reuter was still there over the summer or over in the spring practice, and by all accounts, Aoun just like kicked those guys to the curb, and there was no competition in spring ball. But my thought process with Gunnell is, and I'm wondering if this is what we'll see with some more of the transfers that have yet to be decided with maybe our boy Sears, is my initial inclination with Gunnell transferring to North Texas is that Luttrell has promised him, hey, Aoun's gone after this year. He said as much. Like, this is your job next year. And I'm sure I don't know how many years Gunnell has, right? I think he's probably got at least 2. But like, where else could he go? Variable based on the options that are available right now that are better than the job is yours next year. At this point in time, it's either FCS or maybe 1 or 2 jobs, 1 or 2 places. Like we keep talking about Louisiana Tech, they've got to have something up their sleeve, right? Because they they just lost another dude like in the last month, I feel like. But they've outside of them at the D1 level, at the FBS level, there's like if you're Gunnell, you're looking around like what are you finding that is better than Luttrell coming to you and saying the job is yours next year. I don't think he goes into a camp battle against Aoun, who's been in the system now for I think 3 years. Because he split with Jason Bean, and then last year Luttrell was like, yeah, I think Reuter's better than you. Reuter was awful, and then Luttrell, Aoun came back and saved the day over the last half of the season, and he's continuing to improve. I think Aoun has the job this year, and it's Gunnell's job next year. So
here's the interesting thing. I just pulled it up.
Okay.
It says former Memphis quarterback Grant Gunnell has a new home, committed to North Texas. ESPN was first to report Gunnell's decision. The junior, who has 3 years of eligibility, transferred after the Memphis spring practice.
I think he's already been in for 4.
It says. It says the commercial appeal says the junior who has 3 years of eligibility transferred after Memphis's spring practice.
Makes sense. I mean, if he's a junior and one of them is 2020,
yeah,
academically he's a junior.
He had probably a medical redshirt last year,
so that's where I would place my bet if I had to. That
I think you give Aoun too much credit because I think Gunnell could beat him out if he's doing it now. He's got more time. And what's Aoun done? And I have him in a league where it's like, I just have him because it's North Texas. I think that's an amazing move. Like if you could get Gunnell right now, I think you do it, right? Like because that's an offense. That's a great offense to have. They get guys to produce out of nowhere in terms of receivers. So I'm not worried about like a 4-star or a big 3-star going there. Like I think that's a great offense. And they don't have any issue producing running backs and receivers. It's not like they're one or the other because they just hammer one receiver. So I don't know. Gunnell feels like a great fit, a great add to the team. So
would you take him in a basketball draft now?
I would 100% take him in a draft right now.
I think he goes in our draft that's coming up starting tomorrow as well, and I think it's not gonna happen. I think that's gonna be a wasted pick.
I have taken Grant Wells in multiple drafts, so I'm not afraid to take Gunnell.
No, I
in Dynasty, I think it's amazing. Like if you don't get him late.
Yeah, Dynasty agreed for sure. It's a no-brainer for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So I mean, you could see his stats right here on the screen, but like his best game, ironically, was the best team against the best team they played. Maybe outside of I guess Liberty, but like the best defense they played at Mizzou, he put up 4 touchdowns. That was the only game he put up more than 2.
I mean, those are bad numbers, right? Like,
yeah, can you not see him? I'm sorry. I mean,
no, you're good. I'm like, I don't know why we're pretty early on, right? Like, this is early on enough. Like, how similar is Memphis's offense to North?
I forgot they lost that bowl game. I thought they won it.
That's because they played on grass and not turf like all their other games.
Yeah.
But sir, look at those 5 wins in a row.
Yeah,
3 total touchdowns, guys.
Right. He completed like an average of like 48% of his passes.
He beat out Jason Bean, who got beat out by Jalen Daniels.
Hey, don't be talking about Daniels. It's my dog there. But that's not who we're talking about today. So I think Gunnell has a really good shot at beating him out for the job. I don't like 9 touchdowns, 9 picks. Like that's not like a high bar to clear. So I think Gunnell, that's his job to lose, in my opinion.
We'll see.
All right. Any other transfers you guys want to?
No, I think that's everything.
Oh, we have actually a comment on our YouTube. I'll put it on the screen. I think the real battle is Head and Gunnell. I don't think Ayoun and Reuter are good.
Well, we can agree Reuter is not good. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like the same, right? Like Head is just like Ayoun without experience, right? Like
I don't know. Does Steven have insider connections in North Texas? Everything I read from the spring is that Ayoun just was head and shoulders above all the other quarterbacks on campus during spring practice. And it seemed like they were really happy with how he closed down the stretch. Even though the stats didn't necessarily bear it out, they won games and they throttled teams. Like they beat the shit out of UTSA.
Oh, great. Now I got to make this one explicit.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at JD Head in his couple of games he played, and I'm like, I actually have him on a team because I'm a degenerate. Yeah. And he had a couple games that were pretty solid. I mean, he had 5 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns in 2 games. I don't know. I think we all love JD Head staying at Louisiana Tech, and then he left, and we're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
He's also young, so like you have the idea that like a coach could be like, well, he's just as good as Gunnell, and he's younger. I don't know. I think it's potentially a three-way battle, but who knows? Like, you never know with these small schools and random transfers. Like, there's just too many things in play.
Do you follow Aldo on Twitter? Aldo, I can't remember his last name, but like the guy is obsessed with North Texas football. So I'll talk with him sometimes as well.
No.
I haven't gotten his thoughts on Gunnell yet, but I'll see if we can source his opinion to kind of inform our speculation for a subsequent show.
Excellent.
Aldo Avila, I think that's his name.
All right. Any more transfers I missed?
No,
that are worth talking about? All right, let's jump into our weekly win totals that we've started last week. We did Auburn, San Jose State, and Georgia last week. We can recap. I think we picked Georgia for 11 wins.
At least, but I think we decided on 11 just to be
11.
Yeah.
Auburn, we settled. It was 4 or 5. I think it was 5. But
I think we leaned 5.
Well, the great thing is we have a recording that can inform this at some point.
Yeah. Who listens to the show? I don't know about you, but I don't. But I think we go with 5.
But anyway, And then San Jose State, we picked. I think they were to go 7-5. I think is what we ended up with.
Yep.
All right. So Andrew had a team he wanted to lead this off with. So this is all news to us. None of us know but him.
The way I want to do this is I'll throw the team out there. I want you guys to talk to it, and then I will come in with my perspective subsequently. So I want the team number 1 to be Arizona State.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, man.
Let's talk about it like a mass exodus /
Who's on that team still?
Yeah,
Emory.
Brand new teams, brand new players. Pull it up,
Yeah.
Zach. Let's see what we got.
Emory, Joe's boy.
Okay, Xavier Valade just went undrafted in our best ball.
He was going so high for a while, right?
I think because of myself.
Yes. Yeah,
What am I pulling up?
That feels crazy. Arizona State future schedule, please.
Everything seems to indicate that Nada's going to be like the first running back on the field.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing.
I know. The Valde's our boy.
Why would he go there? Because college kids are stupid. I'm sorry. I answered that myself.
Dude, he probably got some car dealership NIL.
Yeah.
All right, I'm almost there. All right, so Arizona State's schedule is right here. They open up with Northern Arizona. I think we give them a win for that.
Northern Arizona just approved like a $50 million indoor football thing.
Okay, so loss. That's what we're saying.
Oh my gosh.
I think we have to give them a win there.
Yeah. You go win, lost to Oklahoma State, win to Eastern Michigan,
loss.
Oh, at home?
They're at home. I think
Emory Magic. Washington's pretty garbage.
I'm wearing the Washington shirt. I'm going to say win. I mean, I think they're going to lose to Washington. But let's see how this plays out. So
Stanford.
I say they'll win that one. Off a bye week. Yeah, they'll win that one.
Against first round hopeful Tanner McKee.
Yeah, they're gonna win it.
Colorado.
I'll give them a win.
This is the hard thing is that Emory Jones could be like really good, like really college good.
Yeah.
Or he could be like just dreadful.
Like, didn't they lose like 8 receivers in the portal?
They have like 5. I think I saw they have like 5 receivers in their scholarship receivers, and one of them was a walk-on last year.
And like they all transferred it like within a week or 2 of each other. Or they all went into the portal like one after another. Boom, 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 boom.
So with Colorado, we have them at 4 wins.
So okay, hold on. Start 1, 2. You say no to Washington?
I agree with that. I'll be fine with that if we say yes to Stanford and Colorado.
Okay, that's fine. Boom, boom. So there's 4.
Okay, so loss to UCLA.
Yep. At Wazoo.
I mean, I'm fine with saying loss there for sure.
Loss.
Even with Cameron Ward not playing well.
Yeah. Even if he stinks.
On the road, it's probably going to be at like...
It's going to be like at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. And then I think they lose at Oregon State, and I think they...
At home against Oregon State.
I think they lose.
Oh, okay.
To Oregon State, and I think they lose to Arizona.
You think they lose to the Territorial Cup?
Yep.
You have bought too much of that media snake oil that is being fed via Jedfish being nice to the reporters.
I would say 5 wins, by the way. I would say they win one of the final 2.
5?
I would feel really good about saying 5.
3,
like,
4.
I think it's possible they could beat Washington. I think it's possible they could beat Washington State. I think Oregon State's a 50-50. I think Arizona's always a 50-50. But like based on how we went, I'm feeling good about 5.
I can live.
I'm very curious about yours right here.
So about a month ago, I started thinking about. Well, I have like I use that Google Keep app to like just track my thoughts in the off season on like bets I want to make and stuff like that. And a lot of them are just like conference championships. But every now and then, if I start to get a feel on a team, I'll take down like, okay, if the win total opens at like this, maybe I'll hit it or something. And I was like, you couldn't it was impossible to ignore Arizona State and the progression of the program as player after player keeps transferring. They lose both coordinators. They're about to get hammered with NCAA scandal. And the roster just seems like it's taking a total beating. And everything, this confluence of events is coming together. And I'm thinking, like, maybe we'll get a good number. And as more and more events become like, okay, I really want to hit the under on their wins at Open. And, like, I don't think they're winning more than, like, 5, maybe 6 games. So I'm like, okay, I'll hit it if it's at, like, 5.5. I'll hit the under for
what is the
and if it's at, like, 6.5 or 6, then I'll definitely hit the under for, like, a lot. So I'm starting to, like, scan books a little bit. And Moxley tweeted out that FanDuel started posting regular season wins. I was checking that book all the time, but they posted in, like, a weird way to get to it, so I missed it at Open. Dude, they opened the over under at 7.5.
Ooh.
And by the time I got to it, it was at, like, minus 155 instead of, like, minus 110. So, but I put like 30% of my bankroll on it, and I was like, it was up at 7.5 at minus 155 for, like, 4 days. And I kept looking at it. I'm like, should I put more? Like, I keep going back, like, thinking, like, I need to put more down. Like, I feel so good about this, but at the same time, it's like, I know I want to play a lot of DFS this season. I know I want to do other things with my bankroll, and, like, I keep my bankroll, like, very separate and segmented from all of the other.
This is why you have degenerate friends to, like, help bankroll you, man.
Right.
Totally, like, feed me for that. I'm totally in for the under.
Well, it moved now to 6.5 at minus 120.
That feels weird.
So we're still all under.
I still think it hits, but, like,
that's not a hammer
just, like,
bet.
That's just putting a gun to my head. Like, yeah, I think they go under, but, like,
yeah,
am I interested?
Let's not put a mortgage on it bet, you know?
Right.
Like, just don't tell Margaret and pray to God type thing.
So we're saying 5 officially.
I think 5 is I think 5 feels conservatively strong.
Right after I put down my bet, like, within 24 hours, Emory announces he's transferring there. That random Vandy receiver that people are pretending isn't terrible announces he's transferring there.
Cam Johnson, or who is that?
Cam Johnson.
Mm.
I mean, he was good because, like, I'm not getting into that. I'm sorry.
I think Emory, like, at first I was kind of horrified. I was like, fuck, they actually got, like, a player that could add some wins. But I think what Emory does more than anything else is he removes the likelihood of, like, a nuclear ceiling. He probably also removes the likelihood of, like, a total bomb out. Like, they're probably not losing to EMU or Northern Arizona, where before I think that was actually, like, in play if they didn't take a trip.
Their floor comes up a little.
Yeah, but I think their ceiling comes down a little bit. Like,
I don't know, man.
What?
I think it's possible. I mean, Emory is not impressive to me at all.
Right.
Like, I think Emory to me is, like, there's definitely the upside there, but I think there's just, like, 8 for 27 for $115 type stuff, even against Eastern Michigan.
Dude. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
he had some horrific games.
Yeah, I think he's got a high upside, very low floor.
I don't think the upside's that high, though. Like, his running ability is not as great as we want it to be, and
well, he doesn't have the weapons is the problem, right? Like, he doesn't have, like, the guys out wide to, like, make the big play.
Yeah,
and he's not like Anthony Richardson, right? Is like the superstar athlete that can break off like a 90-yard.
Kyle put out a tweet last year after the Alabama game that was like, Florida would have beaten Alabama today if they didn't have an actual Gator throwing the football at quarterback. And that stuck with me. I'm like, his arms actually do look like Gator arms when he's throwing the football.
That's great.
But yeah.
Oh boy.
Do we have a second team picked, or we should pick from the
we got enough requests from when we solicited via our various social media channels, right? Where I don't think we need to go to another we don't need to push another team out. Like, so I don't know. I think we got. I don't know if you have in front of you, Zach. We got a few asks for teams for us to discuss, right?
Yes. We got Notre Dame, USC, Florida, A&M, Arkansas, Wisconsin, Michigan.
We got Penn State requests from Sal on the initial. So that's all Discord. When I put out a tweet. Yeah.
Let's do Penn State.
Yeah, let's save USC for when Addison doesn't go there. Penn State feels fairly set in stone from a roster perspective.
That. Okay.
Let's go Penn State.
Do you want to bring it up?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Do you want to how do you want to handle this? I didn't really actually pay attention to what you guys did for Arizona State, because as soon as you got to 5 losses, I was like, all right, I didn't assess this entirely incorrectly, and I'm already counting my money. I assume it's a win.
So we
should spend that. You should spend that already.
Yeah.
All right,
$50.
So here's Penn State. They open at Purdue.
Would you mind sharing your screen?
Yeah, share your screen.
Oh, you can see. Oh, I didn't share the screen.
Yeah. You ever done this before?
Oh,
Yeah, are you not part of a tech startup?
Hyper growth type startup.
I forgot I took it down because it was just sitting there. And
let's all give it 10 seconds to just digest the digest the schedule, because I don't want to just jump right in. I don't know. This feels tougher.
What did we say about the Auburn game?
We said that Penn State would win.
Okay,
that Purdue game is so annoying to me, because I want Purdue to open with like a real wide open. Like the last few years, they've opened up, I think, with like Oregon State in their first game, and we've got like we saw David Bell go for like 3 touchdowns and like 50 catches.
It's interesting to me because if you tell me week 1 Purdue Penn State, I would put the odds at Thursday night, right? Like I would go 65% Penn State, 35% Purdue. But like if you put that like week 9, I'd probably go 85% Penn State, 15%. You know, like
really, I would say the opposite.
Yeah, really, I think like the early on helps them.
I feel like Purdue always, like under Braum, improves throughout the season, assuming like they're in trouble if O'Connell goes down, I think, but. I was FanDuel put out game lines as well for a lot of the games, and there is one for that. And I think Penn State is either a 1 or 3 point favorite in that game, which I mean I don't disagree too much with. I think I would I'm so biased. I love Purdue, I love Braum, I love O'Connell, I love all those guys. So I mean I want to give them an L. I want to give Penn State an L here, and I think. If I'm forced to choose, I will say they lose that game.
Penn State loses that game.
Yeah.
I'm down to go with it if the next time we get a 50-50, we go the opposite, because I would probably go with Vegas here and say Vegas. We're definitely not safe for work anymore. Thank you. Let it be known Andrew's doing this, not me, okay?
Yeah.
I'd probably lean Purdue loses, but I'm cool with saying that Purdue wins this.
I think it's closer to a 50-50 than you think. It's at Purdue on a Thursday night. First game
early on.
It's gonna be wild.
I think I would probably still lean 55-45 Penn State. So
we'll just go 50-50 the other way next time. So
we'll take
loss at Purdue, so 0. They beat Ohio, right?
Okay. Yep.
We haven't beaten Auburn.
The coin flip you give them, the Ohio
one. Okay, Central Michigan win.
So that's 3.
Yep. Northwestern win.
Yeah.
Of course. They win the off week.
Loss, right?
Agreed.
I have in my Google Keep I guess we'll talk Michigan when we get there, but
is this our other 50-50 we're already
I think it's so easy to craft an argument that Michigan
50-50.
is a serious regression candidate this
we're
year.
not picking this as our 50-50.
No, I'm fine giving
update your Google Keep. We're not going I mean, I get like Michigan 100% could regression.
Yeah.
Or, regress, right? But like it ain't Penn State.
Fine.
It ain't, it ain't Penn State.
Yeah.
What week do we think is the Singleton breakout week? Is it Auburn?
I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be
The
Central
true
Michigan,
breakout,
right?
not the
Central,
flash.
I mean,
not
if
the
you're
flash
talking
with the 70-yard touchdown, the week where he actually either
I think
gets on the field.
The Michigan game.
No, I think he has a 25 for 105 and 2 touchdowns against Auburn, which is like kind of cool but not crazy. And then against Central Michigan, he goes like 15 for 190 and 3 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when he goes above and beyond.
Yeah, I hear you.
So we got Penn State at 3 wins. 1, 2, 3 wins.
4 wins.
4 wins after Michigan. So Minnesota.
I say win. They're at home. I say they win.
Yeah, I'm good with a win.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Ohio State.
Loss.
Yep. At Indiana.
I like a win. That's 6 to me.
You don't want to give them an L at Auburn? We can give the double L. I'm fine with the double
We
L.
can't go. What are you going back for, man? We don't even know who their quarterback is. It's going to be a guy that just transferred in or TJ Finley.
Oh, boy.
Finley.
We got to stay consistent.
I like Calzada. I hope it's him.
So they're beating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We say they beat Indiana 6. Maryland.
Home against Maryland. I like them winning.
Win.
Oh,
all right,
boy, here it comes.
Andrew, what do we think?
On the banks? You don't just come into New Brunswick and walk away with a win that easily.
So
you can give him a win.
Win, and then Michigan.
That's the 50-50 that we promised.
Michigan State is a 50. Like to me, that's a 50-50. I think Michigan State could be a 4-win team or a 10-team win. 10-team win.
I feel like there's a few players that go consistently. I feel like in the teens in our best balls that I haven't put in the time to research them, so I feel like I am actually missing something. But like I don't understand Peyton Thorne always going in like the late teens. Like what is the selling point on why he's going to contribute in a really positive way to my best ball roster?
I think
he's just that the running game's not going to be as good as last year.
I think he's kind of like a Clifford where he's like kind of mobile, but he'll throw a decent bit. Like they'll throw it, like the volume is there. I think he's like I think he like you draft him thinking, hey, I could use a white guy that's going to go for 22 points.
Yeah.
I think that's like what you're drafting right there.
So how many wins do we want to give Penn State the win here?
Because as of right now, I think we have them at 8 or 9. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If they beat Michigan State, is 9.
It's so funny because we give them like this very linear 8 or 9 wins, but I think I feel like the season for them will just be it's going to be so incredibly chaotic.
Was it last year 0-6, and then what was that the year before? They started out like 0-6 or 0-5 or something like that.
Wasn't last year.
It was 2020. They won 1-5. But just like from within fantasy perspective, right? Maybe Cliff, like I understand that Aller hasn't done anything to take that job, right? But let's say things don't go so good in weeks 1 and 3. People start screaming for Clifford's head for the 5-star QB. At running back, right? There's a lot that can happen there between Singleton, the other 4-star running back, and probably neither of those kids start in favor of Kevon Lee. And then, I don't know about you. I would have been so ready to reach for Parker Washington if Tinsley didn't transfer in, shack up in room as Clifford's roomie and get all the positive buzz this spring. So I feel like within each of the fantasy position groups outside of tight end, which I don't really have an opinion on, like there's so much room for chaos, which I mean doesn't necessarily translate to a chaotic schedule, or a chaotic way in which the schedule plays out. But I don't know.
I don't see any sort of decent to good season for Penn State if Clifford is not the quarterback the whole year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like I have a hard time benching a guy that's been pretty decent to good his whole career, and like has forced a guy like Will Levis, whatever, right? Out. Like, I don't know. Like, if he gets beat out by Aller, it means that he like broke his femur in week 2. You know, like to me, like that's how that happened. So I don't know. I think we're at 8-9, and you know, it's
I
one
say
of the other.
we go 8.
I'm cool with 8.
Do you want to know what the total is?
Probably 8.5.
9.5.
I don't think it's that high.
I have no idea. I'm just guessing.
Okay. While I pull it up, start giving consideration to what you want Team 3 today to be, assuming. So
let's do Arkansas. Let's do Arkansas. SEC school.
Got it. I'm on it. And SEC.
All right. It is 8.5. Very good of us.
Look
With
at
a slight shade to the under. Which
Yes.
I think is the market being uncomfortable with the chaotic nature of Penn State as well and shading toward the under.
Yeah. This one's gonna be fun.
This is more fun than I thought it would be. Cincinnati week 1, okay.
All right. Cincinnati week 1. I am sharing the screen, right? Okay, good. Cincinnati week 1.
By the way, I appreciate so much that you gravitate toward FBS schedules instead of any of the proprietary college.
Yes. Don't go to ESPN.
This is it. Like FBS schedules is the greatest thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So clean. They've got the helmets. Like the formatting's perfect.
Yep. All right. Win or loss?
Man, that's tough. They have to replace a lot of dudes.
I would say they're going to win just because of that. Cincinnati's replacing a lot of key players.
I think they're like 7-point favorites in that game. Every opinion seems to be that they're going to take care of business there.
I need Rocket to go for like 250.
No, thank you. I think this is another one of those Purdue Penn State games where it's like, if this was in week 9, I would feel much better maybe about saying Cincinnati, but I'm going to Arkansas. Like, I think Arkansas, this feels good for them.
All right. South Carolina.
Man, South Carolina could be like really good or really bad in like.
I think I'm just going to go win.
Tricked.
I'm going to say they beat South Carolina
at home, SEC West, so they get the extra couple points per the referees.
I just think there's so much unknown with South Carolina. Like you said, they could be really, really good, or they could just be hype and not as good as we think they are. I
will give South Carolina the win.
Oh, that comes on me then.
Yeah,
I will go South Carolina. I'm going to bet on Rattler.
Okay.
And I'm a pretty anti-Rattler guy, generally speaking, last 24 months.
Okay, so we have a loss.
Yep.
Missouri State win.
Yep.
Petrino, right? I think that's Petrino's school. So it is Petrino versus his former school.
Oh, yeah?
I believe so.
Let's find out. Mm-hmm. But anyway, A&M at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Cowboy Stadium.
Always a fun game.
It is Petrino.
That's a cool game. It's been a good game too in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
This feels like another 50-50. I went to South Carolina last time, so I don't have a problem going to Arkansas here.
I was going to go A&M.
How the tides have turned.
But I think it's close to. I'm going to stick with A&M though.
I'll go Arkansas.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so then there's a win. All right, Alabama.
I don't know, man. No.
In Fayetteville?
In Vietnam?
Do people actually call it that?
No, they call Fayetteville, North Carolina, Vietnam.
That's so funny.
Yeah, don't go there. I hope we don't have any subscribers from there. 1 of 15. Please don't be from there. Yeah, I think that's obviously an L, right? Like, so
Yeah.
Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's like I think a military base. We had a college summer team that used to play there, and man, those kids were ruthless. Mohawks, talking junk.
Fayette chill, guys. Fayette chill.
Fayette chill is much more cool. I'll tell you that. Pun intended.
All right, so we're gonna say they lose to Alabama at Mississippi State.
This is such a ruthless schedule.
This really is like,
ugh. Like they could be really good and be like this juggernaut, 9-3, 10-2 through that schedule, or they could.
I don't have a problem with them winning this game.
Yeah,
I don't.
I like
I
them
agree.
winning this one.
I agree.
So we have them beating Cincinnati, Missouri State,
A&M
and A&M, and now Mississippi State. So that's 4.
at BYU. That's a tricky one.
At 10:30 at night.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Yeah.
That's an SEC team traveling outside of God's time zone.
Yeah.
Right. That's
no,
wild.
no
I like
Pepsis
that.
allowed. Oh boy.
I'm gonna go with BYU.
I don't have a problem going L. I don't have a problem going L.
That's a tough
We've gone
game.
close. I feel like Mississippi State's been kind of 50-50. I feel
I
like
don't
going
like
the other
BYU.
way would be
I
50-50,
think
so I'm down with the L.
BYU could win that game.
What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, let's do it.
So,
All right. L. So they're still at 4.
okay.
Then they have the bye week at Auburn, week 9. Well, how did
Question is, what did we pick?
What did
the
we
last
pick?
time?
was that one of Auburn's wins?
Shoot, what do you guys were supposed to do this?
No.
I want to say we said Auburn wins this game
because they were at home.
because they were at home, and I think Andrew just came in hot saying they would win it, and we just kind of like went with it because he was.
But did we know Arkansas was coming off of a bye week?
No, we definitely didn't know that. But that's fine. Let's just say loss.
Okay,
Why
loss.
not?
Homecoming against Liberty.
Win.
That's a win.
Golden boot. I think they win at home. Golden boot.
Yep.
Give it to me. It's
Ole
6.
Miss.
I think they can win that one too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give him a win there.
That's 7. At Missouri, I'm down with another one. That's 8.
Is that Friday after Thanksgiving still?
Yeah.
Yep.
What a great tradition.
God, I love that game.
Yeah.
So
2:30 on CBS.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. 8
Yeah.
wins for Arkansas. What's the official?
What's the official number? It's
Andrew.
going to be again. It's
So,
gonna be right on it.
I believe that it's
7.5.
opened at, are you guessing?
That's my guess. 7.5.
I believe it opened at 6.5. So, all right. So, FanDuel released all the P5, like when through the progression that I mentioned previously with Arizona State. But which site is it? I think WinBet is putting out, or was putting out, incrementally divisions once a week over like the past 4 weeks. So when SEC East and West were put out, nothing else was put out before then. So it was a huge deal. There was a lot of conversation about it, and that was the only market at the time. And when SEC West opened, the bet, I believe, I recall this correctly, the bet that got hit harder than any other was the over on Arkansas of 6.5 when it opened on WinBet. So let's check FanDuel though and see what it is there.
I don't know what it's sitting at now, but it did open at 6.
So
I'm just reading it.
Did you say it did?
It opened at 6.5. Yeah.
So it's at 7.5 on FanDuel with heavy under juice. At to
Oh,
minus
heavy
170.
under.
it was heavy over. It opened with heavy over.
Yeah. How did you find that?
How did I find it?
Yeah.
I Google searched it.
You're so slick at that. But yeah, so it's minus 170 at 7.5. Under is minus 170 at 7.5 for them.
That makes sense. It had heavy juice over at 6.5 and then
Right.
heavy juice under at 7.5 because
Right.
everybody was home. I mean, right? Like, I think based on the conversation, we landed on 8. I think we could see 6 happen for sure.
Oh yeah,
I think we could also see maybe 9 happen. You know,
Yeah.
like
super
it
high
feels-
variance.
yeah, like there's just a
I'd say
lot
we-
going on.
I think 8. I think we like 8, right?
I don't know. I
We
wouldn't
went
bet the
8.
over.
This is not one I would, bet the mortgage on Auburn, San Jose State, but Arkansas, throw a couple pennies on it.
I mean, Cincinnati, South Carolina, A&M, Alabama, Mississippi State, BYU, Auburn, LSU, Mississippi. That's 9 games that I would not feel ultra confident betting on them to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
They could be 5-7 or 9-3. Is that basically how?
Yeah, I think that's how I feel.
Yeah, I think Arkansas may be the toughest one we've done yet.
Definitely.
I think the
This
BYU
is a cool schedule, though.
hinges on BYU. Like if they go out to Provo and beat BYU, I think
Also, I feel that LSU and Ole Miss could go any direction by that point in the season. Like they could be walking into those 2 games and be like, they could be 15-point favorites in either of those, or they could be 10-point dogs in either of those, depending on how things break.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? Like offensively for Arkansas, I feel good about their running game, right? Like I feel like they have some guys that are good, but like is KJ Jefferson just like a guy, or I mean, he's got the potential to be like a very good quarterback, right? Like in terms of college, at least. And then, like, is Hazelwood that good?
It's
Like,
so weird
he
watching. Have you watched Jefferson, right?
Yeah.
It's like watching Kyle Anderson play basketball. It's like super slow-mo, but in the moment it works, and his slowness is not stopping him from being able to run or throw or move around in the pocket. Like,
yeah.
And
then so it's interesting. The schedule is like very much, obviously it's Arkansas. So like we're concerned about Jefferson. Like is Hazelwood a superstar? Run game feels good. Then we look at LSU, they have like 3 quarterbacks that could be decent.
Yeah.
You look at South Carolina's offense, like, are they going to be they're going to be obviously pretty good. And they felt like they were trending up, but like, are they going to like take the next step up to like where it like can overtake other areas? Like there's a lot of Cincinnati week 1 with a brand new team, but it's the same coaching staff. Like, like there just feels like a lot of, this one is tough. There just feels like a lot of variables in play compared to the ones that we've done previously.
So
for sure.
What do we need to settle on a number? So
I think we said 8.
We said 8.
We said 8. Yeah.
Okay. 8 and 4. I don't think Andrew's fully convinced.
No, but I mean, I think that we went about the right way of kind of going through the games instead of just trying to pull a number out, right? So I mean, that's what we arrived at. So it's fine.
Okay. 8. And we also have a spreadsheet of all of these tracked of what we've picked.
So. It's interesting. There's 2 ways to go about this, right? Like you just straight, like what we've kind of done is like you pick win-loss, right? Boom, boom, boom. Or you say like win-wise, like, okay, well, they play Cincinnati. I feel good about them winning. 60% chance we'll give them 0.6 wins. Yeah. Then we play Ohio. Well, we say 0.9, like there's 2 ways to go about it.
Yeah.
What are we going to do it? We're doing it the first way. This one feels like it really feels toss-up-ish almost on every game.
Right. We're not in reality, they're not full wins. We should be giving them.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we're gonna end it there. Over an hour. Did good tonight. That's it for tonight. We'll submit your teams for next week that we can talk about. We will want to do at least 3. 3 is what we're going to limit it at. I think we decided that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But that's all I've got. Until next time, guys. See you later.
Yeah. See you guys.
Later.